If you've been feeling overwhelmed with anxiety lately, try listening to a guided meditation on the Meditation for Anxiety podcast. Meditation is a proven, natural way to help you calm down and dissolve stress so you can feel lighter and happier. So subscribe for free today to the Meditation for Anxiety podcast by searching for Meditation for Anxiety on your favorite podcast player.
This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 2400, Why Paying for a Storage Unit is a Waste of Money by Michelle Schroeder-Gardner of MakingSenseOfCents.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. Welcome back to Optimal Finance Daily, where I'm here with you each and every day to read from some of the world's best finance blogs. And with that, let's get right to today's post as we optimize your life. Why Paying for a Storage Unit is a Waste of Money by Michelle Schroeder-Gardner of MakingSenseOfCents.com. The average home size in 1950 was less than 1,000 square feet. Fast forward to now, the average home size has increased to around 2,600 square feet, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Despite that, according to Sparefoot, nearly 10% of households also rent a self-storage unit. That's a lot of storage units. In July 2016, we cleared out our storage unit. We were paying $185 a month for a small storage unit, mainly for photo albums and childhood items. We only had the storage unit for around 6 months, but in that small amount of time, we had already spent $1,110 in storage unit costs. That's just an unbelievable amount of money to spend on things that we knew we weren't going to need or use for at least several years. The storage unit wasn't completely horrible, but there were some negatives. It seemed wasteful to spend $185 a month to store things that we don't use. When we got the storage unit, I had to sign a paper that said we wouldn't store photo albums in there. In fact, I found out that this was normal. This felt like I was jinxing myself, and I was afraid that something would happen to the hundreds of photo albums that my dad left for me after he passed away. And the storage unit was in an odd location. We put everything from our last house into storage. However, that was in a town where we knew nobody, and we knew that we wouldn't be going back too often. So we rented a moving truck and had everything moved to Wes's parents' attic. Don't worry, they lucked out as well. We gave them all of the expensive new furniture that we had stupidly bought right before we fell in love with the RV life. So all we really have stored there are photo albums and childhood mementos. Sure, there are legitimately good reasons to have a storage unit, such as if you are in between homes. But for the most part, the average person is wasting money by having a storage unit. Yes, it's possible to downsize, and I know this because I currently live in an RV with much less storage room than a normal house. You don't need all of that stuff. According to professional organizer Regina Lark, the average U.S. household has 300,000 things. Yes, 300,000. Sounds crazy, but it really adds up quickly. Think about all the plates, silverware, clothing, and everything else you own. Also, according to Lark, U.S. children make up less than 4% of the children on the planet, but have 47% of all the toys and children's books. That's just crazy. Given that the average home size has nearly tripled over the past few decades to 2,600 square feet, I really don't know how people still have more stuff to store than what already fits in their home. You really don't need all of that stuff in your house. You'll probably never use the things you're storing. When people put their belongings into a storage unit, most of the time they don't even step foot in there again until they get rid of the unit. This may be years and years down the line. I've heard of people who forget about paying for their storage units, and after decades of not returning, the storage unit facility then auctions off their belongings. You stored it for decades, never stepped foot into it, and then forgot about all your stuff? That's a huge waste of money. If you're storing your belongings, there's a big chance that you'll never use those items. After all, they're out of sight and out of reach, so how often will you actually use them? Many people store things that they don't even want. Surprisingly, many people store things they know they don't need or want. So why are you storing these things and paying for them? A storage unit costs anywhere from $50 to $200 a month, and this is for a non-climate controlled unit. If you want it to be climate controlled, you'll pay significantly more to store your items. It's probably not worth it to store whatever you're storing. If you're spending $100 a month storing things you don't even want, you should think about how much it's costing you in the long run. Even if $100 doesn't seem like much, that's $6,000 over a 5-year period. Is your stuff worth $6,000? Even if you're just storing it for 1 year, is your stuff worth $1,200? By storing stuff, you're likely to buy even more. Instead of just making do with the items and space that you already have, a storage unit can actually cause you to spend more money. This is because you'll be hoarding more and more things, and then you'll just continue to put things in your storage unit because you have that extra space. Well, that's a huge waste of money. Instead, you should just make do with the space that you already have and really think about every purchase you're considering. You have time to donate or sell your stuff. Some people have a storage unit because they think they don't have enough time to donate, sell, or otherwise get rid of the stuff they want to store. Well, with the amount of time it will take to bring your items to storage, you could probably just get rid of them. Plus, someone else may find a great deal of value in your stuff, and/or you may help someone in need. You just listened to the post titled, "Why Paying for a Storage Unit is a Waste of Money" by Michelle Schroeder-Gardner of MakingSenseOfSense.com. Stuff has a tendency to creep up on us, especially when we have the space for it. I think when you have something in your possession, even if you don't need it in the moment, you'll tend to keep it just in case you might need it in the future. And that will pile up over time. What if we implemented expiration dates for our stuff just like we have for food? One way I've done this in the past is with my clothing. I would go through my closet and organize all of my clothing once per year. And then when I put everything back in the closet, I would turn the hangers around so that the open side was facing out. Then when I wore that piece of clothing and I was putting it back in the closet, I would put the hanger back the right way so I can see that I actually wore that thing. After a year, all the hangers facing the wrong way showed me everything I really didn't wear. So I then donate that clothing. I think the other benefit to having less stuff is that you're more conscious of what you do have and you're less likely to buy duplicates. When you're in need of a yoga mat, for example, and you can't find the one you think you might have stowed away somewhere, you're more likely to buy another one. But that's it for today. Thank you for being here every day and listening. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.